Okay, we're back here in the reading room, and for a second and a half, we had a great signal. And it looks like, yeah, maybe we got a better signal. So that's really good. I don't know why we had a poor signal since we had a great signal all day today. My guess is they're looking for some way to not get me online. Anyway, as I started to say, I am so happy because I found some data that was locked. And most of the data during this time disappeared, as did all my hard drives, right? From, Oakland University during this time that I was producing my series A Healthy New You in 2022 while they're trying to disparage me in my profession all over the place. I told you what I want from you. Your land, all your buildings. You know, the kind of stuff that you steal from people. I tried to give advice. I really did. Nothing too complicated. Like, stop hollering at strange girls on the street and don't bring up the beyonder any more than necessary. Did he listen? Of course not. Trying to talk sense to Oscar about girls was like trying to throw rocks at Eunice, the untouchable. Dude was impenetrable. He'd hear me out and then shrug. Nothing else has any efficacy. I might as well be myself. But your yourself sucks. It is lamentably all I have. But my favorite conversation. Junior, what? Are you awake? If it's about Star Trek, it's not about Star Trek, he coughed. I have heard from a reliable source that no Dominican male has ever died a virgin. You who have experience in these matters, do you think this is true? I sat up. Dude was peering at me in the dark, dead serious. Oh, it's against the law of nature for a Dominico to die without fucking at least once. That, he sighed, is what worried me. So what happens at the beginning of October? What always happens to playboys like me? I got hopped. No surprise, given how balls out I was living. Wasn't just any hop either. My girl, Surian, found out I was messing with one of Hermanas. Players, never, never, never fuck with a bitch named Awilda. Because when she Awildas out on your ass, you'll know pain for real. The Awilda in question dimed me for fuck knows what reason, actually taped one of my calls to her, and before you could say, oh shit, everybody knew. Homegirl must have played that thing like 500 times. Second time I'd been caught in 2 years, a record even for me. Surian went absolutely nuts, attacked me on the E-bus. The boys laughing and running and me pretending like I hadn't done anything. Suddenly I was in the dorm a lot, taking a stab at a story or two, watching some movies with Oscar, This Island Earth Up Appleseed Project A, casting around for a lifetime. What I should have done was check myself into booty rehab. But if you thought I was going to do that, then you don't know Dominican men. Instead of focusing on something hard and useful like say my own shit, I focused on something easy and redemptive. Out of nowhere and not in the least influenced by my own shitty state, of course not, I decided that I was going to fix Oscar's life. One night while he was moaning on about his sorry existence, I said, do you really want to change it? Of course I do, he said, but nothing I've tried has been ameliorative. I'll change your life. Really? The look he gave me still breaks my heart, even after all these years. Really, you have to listen to me, though. Oscar scrambled to his feet, pleased, his hand over his heart. I swear on an oath of obedience, my lord. When do we start? You'll see. The next morning, 6 a.m., I kicked Oscar's bed. What is it? He cried out. Nothing much, I said, throwing his sneakers on his stomach. just the first day of your life. I really must have been in dangle over Surian, that's the word, which is why I threw myself something serious into Project Oscar. Those first weeks while I waited for Surian to forgive me, I had Fat Boy like Master Killer and Shaolin Temple. Was on his ass 24/7. Got him to swear off to walking up to strange girls with this I love you craziness. You're only scaring the poor girls, oh. Got him to start watching his diet and to stop talking every crazy negative. I am ill-fated. I'm going to perish a virgin. I'm lacking in pubicitude. No. It's in italics. And I can't see what all those letters are, but that's close enough. At least while I was around, I did. Positive thoughts, I stressed. Positive thoughts, motherfucker. Even brought him out with me and the boys. Not anything serious, just out for a drink when it was a crowd of us, and his monstrousness wouldn't show so much. The boy hating, what's next? We start inviting out what's next? We start inviting out the homeless? But my biggest coup of all, I got dude to exercise with me, to fucking run. Goes to show you, really did look up to me. No one else could have gotten him to do that. The last time he tried running had been freshman year when he'd been 50 pounds lighter. I can't lie, first couple of times I almost laughed seeing him huffing down George Street. Those ashy black knees of his shaking, keeping his head down so he wouldn't have to hear or see all the reactions. Usually just some cackles and a stray, hey, fat ass. The best one I heard, look, man, that guy's taking his planet out for a run. Okay, look, man, that guy's taking his planet out for a run. Don't worry about them jokers, I told him. No worry, he heaved, dying. Dude was just into it. Dude was not into it at all. As soon as we were through, he'd be back at his desk in no time flat, almost clinging to it. Tried everything he could to weasel out of our runs. Started getting up at 5, so when I got up, he'd already be at his computer. Could claim he was in the middle of this amazing, important chapter. Write it later, bitch. After about 1/4 run, he actually got down on his knees. Please, Junior, he said. I can't, I snorted. Just go get your fucking shoes. I knew shit wasn't easy for him. I was callous, but not that callous. I saw how it was. You think people hate a fat person? Try a fat person who's trying to get thin. Brought out the motherfucking Balrog in niggers. Sweetest girls you'd ever see would say the vilest shit to him on the street. Old ladies would jabber, you're disgusting, disgusting. And even Melvin, who'd never shown much in the way of anti-Oscar tendencies, started calling him Jabba the Butt just because it was straight up nuts. Okay, people suck. But what were his options? Had to do something. 24/7 at a computer writing sci-fi monster pieces, dating out to the student center every now and then to play video games, darting out to the student center every now and then to play video games, talking about girls but never actually touching one. What kind of life was that? For fuck's sake, we were Rutgers. Rutgers was just girls everywhere. And there was Oscar keeping me up at night talking about the Green Lantern, wondering aloud if we were orcs, wouldn't we at a racial level imagine ourselves to look like elves? Wondering aloud if we were orcs, wouldn't we at racial level imagine ourselves to look like elves? Dude had to do something. He did too. He quit. It was a nutty thing, really. 4 days a week we were running. I put in 5 miles myself, but with him it was just a little every day. Thought he was doing okay, all things considered. Building, you know. And then right in the middle of one of our jogs out of George Street and looked back over my shoulder, saw that he had stopped, sweat running down everywhere. Are you having a heart attack? I am not, he said. Then why ain't you running? I decided to run no more. Why the fuck not? It's not going to work, Junior. It ain't going to work if you don't want it to work. I know it's not going to work. Come on, Oscar. Pick up your goddamn feet. But he shook his head. He tried to squeeze my hand and then walked to Livingston Avenue, stopped, took the double E home. The next morning I prodded him with my foot, but he didn't stir. I will run again no more. He toned from under his pillow. I guess I shouldn't have gotten mad. Should have been patient with the herb. But I was pissed. Here I was going the fuck out of my way to help this fucking idiot out, and he was pissing it back in my face. Took this shit real personal. 3 days straight I badgered him about the running, and he kept saying, I'd rather not. I'd rather not. For his part, he tried to smooth it over, tried to share his movies and his comic books, and to keep up the nerdly banter, tried to go back to how it was before I started the Oscar redemption program. But I wasn't having it. Finally dropped the ultimatum. You either run or that's it. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't. Voice rising. Stubborn, like his sister. Last chance, I said. I was sneakered up and ready to roll, and he was at his desk pretending not to notice. He didn't move. I put my hands on him. Get up. And that was when he yelled, you leave me alone. Actually shoved me. I don't think he meant it, but there it was. Both of us astounded. Him trembling, scared sick. Me with my fists out, ready to kill him. For a second, I almost let it go. Just a mistake. But then I remembered myself. I pushed him with both hands. He flew into the wall hard. Dumb. 2 days later, Lola calls from Spain, 5 o'clock in the morning. What the fuck is your problem, Junior? Tired of the whole thing, I said, without thinking, oh, fuck off. Oh, fuck off, Lola. Fuck off? The silence of death. Fuck you, Junior. Don't ever speak to me again. Say hi to your fiance for me. I tried to jeer, but she'd already hung up. Motherfucker, I screamed, throwing the phone into the closet. And that was that. And that was that. The end of our big experiment. He actually did try to apologize a couple of times in his Oscar way, but I didn't reciprocate. Where before I'd been cool with him, now I just iced him out. No more invitations to dinner or a drink. Acted like roommates act when they're beefing. We were polite and stiff, and where before we would jaw about writing and shit, now I didn't have nothing to say to him. Went back to my own life, back to being il sucio. Had this crazy burst of Toto energy. Was being spiteful, I guess. He went back to eating pizza by the 8th slice and throwing himself kamikaze style at the girls. The boys, of course, sensed what was up, that I wasn't protecting the Gordo anymore, and swarmed. I like to think it wasn't too bad. The boys didn't slap him around or nothing, didn't steal his shit, but I guess it was pretty heartless anyway you slice it. You ever eat Toto? Melvin would ask, and Oscar would shake his head, answer decently, no matter how many times Mel asked. Probably the only thing you ain't eaten, right? Harold would say, 2. No eres nada de Dominico. But Oscar would insist unhappily, I am Dominican, I am. It didn't matter what he said. Who the hell, I ask you, had ever met a damo like him? Halloween, he made the mistake of dressing up as Doctor Who. Was real proud of his outfit too. When I saw him on Easton with 2 other writing section clowns, I couldn't believe how much he looked like that fat homo Oscar Wilde. And I told him so. You look just like him, which was bad news for Oscar because Melvin said, Oscar, wow, ¿Quién es Oscar, wow? And that was it. All of us started calling him that. Hey, wow, what you doing? Wow, what you want to get your feet off my chair? See, Yeah, so it's probably Oscar Wow. WAO, probably because after, and they're making fun of him after Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wow. Okay. And the tragedy, after a couple of weeks, dude started answering to it. Fool never got mad when we gave him shit. Just sat there with the confused grin on his face. Made a brother feel bad. A couple of times after the others left, I'd say, you know, we was just kidding, right? Wow. I know he was wearily. I know, he said wearily. We cool, I said, thumping him on the shoulder. We cool. On the days his sister called and I answered the phone, I tried to be cheerful, but she wasn't buying. Is my brother there? Was all she ever said, cold as Saturn. These days I have to ask myself, what made me angrier? That Oscar, the fat loser, quit? Or that Oscar, the fat loser, defied me? And I wonder, what hurt him more? That I was never really his friend, or that I pretended to be? I'm thinking about that about my friend. I don't know. I don't know what's worse. It doesn't matter when you're really not a friend, I guess. Like, it doesn't matter to me which one is worse. That's all it should have been. Just some fat kid I roomed with my junior year, and then it wouldn't have mattered, right? Then the relationship. But all right, never mind with my PSs. Um, nothing more, nothing more. But then Oscar, the dumbass, decided to fall in love, and instead of getting him for a year, I got the motherfucker for the rest of my life. You ever seen that Sergeant portrait, Madame X? Of course you have. Oscar had that one up on his wall along with Robotech poster and the original Akira one, the Akira one sheet with the one with Tetsuo on it and the words Neo Tokyo is about to explode. She was drop dead like that, but she was also fucking crazy. If you lived in Demarest that year, you would have known her. Jenny Moon Moons Moonos Moonways. I mean, MU and with a tilde, which is Munoz. Jenny Munoz. She was this Baracu chick from East Brick City who lived up in the Spanish section. First hardcore goth I'd ever met. In 1990, us niggers were having trouble wrapping our heads around goths, period. But a Puerto Rican goth that was as strange as a black Nazi. Jenny was her real name, but all her little goth buddies called her La Jeblesse. And every standard a dude like me had, this Diabla short-circuited girl was luminous. Beautiful Jibara skin, diamond-shaped features, wore her hair in the super black Egypto cut, her eyes caked in eyeliner, her lips painted black, had the biggest, roundest tits you've ever seen. Every day Halloween for this girl, and on actual Halloween she dressed up as, you guessed it, a dominatrix. Had one of the gay guys in the music section on a leash. Never seen a body like that though. Even I was hot for Jenny first semester. But the one time I tried to mac on her at the Douglas library, she laughed at me. And when I said don't laugh at me, she asked why not? Fucking bitch. So anyway, guess who decided that she was in love? She was the love of his life. Who fell head over heels for her because he heard her playing Joy Division up in her room, and surprise, he loved Joy Division too? Oscar, of course. At first, dude just stared at her from afar and moaned about her ineffable perfection. Out of your league, I snarked, but he shrugged, talked to the computer screen. Everybody's out of my league. Didn't think nothing of it until a week later when I caught him putting a move on her in Brower Commons. I was with the boys listening to them grouse about the Knicks, watching Oscar and La Jeblesse on the hot food line waiting for the moment she told him off, figured if I'd gotten roasted, she was going to vaporize his ass. Of course, he was full on doing his usual Battle of the Planets routine, talking a mile a minute, sweat running down his face, and homegirl was holding her tray and looking at him askance. Not many girls can do askance and keep her cheese fries from plunging off her trays, but this was why niggers are crazy about la Jeblesse. She started walking away and Oscar yelled over super loud, "We'll talk anon." And she shot back a "sure," all larded with scream. I waved him over. "So how'd it go, Romeo?" He looked down at his hands. "I think I may be in love." "How can you be in love? You just met the bitch." "Don't call her a bitch," he said darkly. "Yeah," Melvin imitated. "Don't call her a bitch." "You have to give it up, Oscar." He didn't give it up. He just kept hitting on her with absolutely no regard for self. In the halls, in front of the bathroom door, in the dining hall, on the buses, dude became ubiquitous. Pinned comic books to her door, for Christ's sake. In my universe, when a dork like Oscar pushes up on a girl like Jenny, he usually gets bounced faster than your tia Daisy's rent checks. But Jenny must have had brain damage or been really into fat loser nerd boys, because by the end of February, she was actually treating him all civil and shit. Before I could wrap my brain around that one, I saw them hanging out together in public. I couldn't believe my fucking eyes. And then came the day when I returned from my creative writing class and found La Jeblesse and Oscar sitting in our room. They were just talking about Alice Walker, but still, Oscar looking like he'd just been asked to join the Jedi Order. Jenny smiling beautiful, and me, I was speechless. Jenny remembered me all right, looked at me with her cute smirking eyes and said, "You want me to get off your bed?" Her Jersey accent enough to knock the guff clean out of me. "Nah," I said, picked up my gym bag and bolted like a bitch. When I got back from the weight room, Oscar was at his computer on page 1,000,000,000 of his new novel. I said, "So what's up with you and Scary Pants?" "Nothing." "What the hell you two talk about?" Items of little note. Something about his tone made me realize that he knew about her scorching me. The fucker, I said. The fucker, I said. "Well, good luck. Wow. I just hope she doesn't sacrifice you to Beelzebub or anything." Beelzebub. I don't know. Beelzebub. What time is it? I'm gonna keep reading. I feel like I want to keep reading. So I'm going to. All March they hung out. I tried not to pay attention, but we were all in the same dorm, so it was hard not to. Later, Lola would tell me that the two of them even started going to movies together. They saw Ghost and this other terrible piece of ass called Hardware. Went to Franklin Diner afterward, where Oscar tried his best not to eat for three. I wasn't around for most of this nonsense. I was out chasing the pussy and delivering pool tables and out with the boys on the weekends. Did it kill me that he was spending time with such a fly bitch? Of course it did. I always thought of myself as the Kaneda of our dyad, but here I was playing Tetsuo. Jenny really put it on for Oscar. Liked to walk arm in arm with him and hug him every chance she got. Oscar's adoration like the light of a new sun. Being the center of a universe, something that suited her. She read him all her poetry, though art the muse of the muses, I heard him say, and showed him her little dumb sketches, which he fucking hung on our door, and told him all about her life, which he dutifully noted in his journal. Living with an aunt because her mom moved to Puerto Rico to be with her new husband when she was 7. Spent from 11 on up making runs into the village. Lived in a squat the year before she came to college. The Crystal Palace, it was called. Was I really reading my roommate's journal behind his back? Of course I was. Oh, but you should have seen the O. He was like I'd never seen him. Loved the Transformer. Started dressing up more, ironing his shirts every morning, dug his wooden samurai sword out of the closet, and in the early morning stood out on the lawn of Demarest, bare-chested, slicing down a billion imaginary foes. Even started running again while jogging. Oh, now you can run, I carped, and he saluted me with the brisk upsweep of his hand as he struggled past. I should have been happy for the woe. I mean, honestly, who was I to begrudge Oscar a little action? Me who was fucking with not one, not two, but three fine-ass bitches at the same time. And that wasn't even counting the side sluts I'd scooped at the parties and the clubs. Me, who had pussy coming out of my ears. But of course I begrudged the motherfucker. A heart like mine, which never got any kind of affection growing up, is terrible above all things. Was then is now. Instead of encouraging him, I scowled when I saw him with La Jablesse. Instead of sharing my woman wisdom, I told him to watch himself. In other words, I was a player hater. Me, the biggest player of them all. I shouldn't have wasted the energy. Jenny always had boys after her. Oscar only a lull in the action. And one day I saw her out on the Demarest lawn talking to the tall punk kid who used to hang around Demarest, wasn't a resident, crashed with whatever girl would let him. Thin as Lou Reed and as arrogant. She was showing her a yoga thing and she was laughing. Now 2 days later I found Oscar in his bed crying. Yo, Holmes, I said, fingering my weight belt. What the hell is the matter with you? Leave me alone, he lowed. Did she diss you? She dissed you, didn't she? Leave me alone, he yelled. Leave me alone. Figured it would be like always. A week of mooning and then back to the writing. The thing that carried him. But it wasn't like always. I knew something was wrong when he stopped writing. Oscar never stopped writing. Loved writing the way I loved cheating. Just to lay in bed and stared at the SDF'd. 10 days of him all fucked up, of him saying shit like, I dream about oblivion like other people dream of good sex. Me a little worried. So I copied his sister's number in Madrid and called her on the sly. Took me like a half a dozen tries and 2 million veils before I got through. What do you want? Don't hang up, Lola. It's about Oscar. She called him that night, asked him what was going on, and of course he told her, even though I was sitting right there. Mister, she commanded, you need to let it go. I can't, he whimpered. My heart is overthrown. You have to, and so on, until at the end of 2 hours, he promised her that he would try. Come on, Oscar, I said, after giving him 20 minutes to stew. Let's go play some video games. He shook his head, unmoved. I will play Street Fighter no more. Well, I said to Lola later on the phone. I don't know, she said. He gets like this sometimes. What do you want me to do? Just watch him for me, okay? Never got the chance. 2 weeks later, La Blesse gave Oscar the coup de friendship. He walked in on her while she was entertaining the punk. Caught them both naked, probably covered with blood or something, and before she could even say, get out, he went berserk, called her a whore and attacked her walls, tearing down her posters and throwing her books everywhere. I found out because some white girl ran up and said, excuse me, but your stupid roommate is going insane, and I had to bolt upstairs and put him in a headlock. Oscar, I hollered, calm down, calm down. Leave me the fuck alone, he shrieked, trying to stomp down. Okay, I'm not exactly sure how long it took to reconnect. I see I'm reconnecting. I'm not exactly sure what you didn't get, but I am pretty sure that I had some pretty bad connections the entire time. Let me see here if I've got, see, the problem is right now I can't see how much time I've got. on this show, which means I'm not quite sure exactly where it stopped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to then check it out and see where we got, where you got lost, right? Where you got cut off, where I got cut off. Great story. The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. I'll check it out, and we will be back here on Tuesday, I hope, unless of course I, I'll be back here on Tuesday even if I have the riches, but I might have an appointment with a lawyer from Oakland University ready to hand me a check. So, those kinds of things. This is Dr. Annette Feravich looking for the entire campus of the university. But that's not for the reading room. In the reading room, I'm here and I am reading to you The Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. I'm the teacher. This has been another version, another day of the classroom, day 95. 5 days, we'll be at day 100. Thanks for joining me.